Hey everybody, this is Pastor Megan and I am on the Idaho side of the Lolo National Forest and I am in a very sacred space. I'm in a small town cemetery and this is the Forest Overlook cemetery just on the Idaho side of Montana. And the reason that I am doing Travel Faithfully here in a place that you may not think of as a special wonder of the world or in a place that might seem pretty ordinary is to honor the ways that sacred sites can happen organically. And the faith that is on display here is the faith of the living, that is remembering the dead and honoring them and faithfully coming back to put up flowers and flags and to put their love into this space and to remember the saints that have come before them. In towns big and small across the United States and around the world, you will find humble grave sites like this that are sacred to the local people and sacred to the people whose family and friends are in these spaces. So it doesn't look spectacular, but it is. Imagine if you think about how hard it is to love people when they're alive, how enduring this love is, that people can faithfully care for each other and show signs of their love for each other so long after this person's presence is gone. Particularly, I've stepped here because on Sunday, this is the fifth Sunday of Lent in year A for those who are pastry types and know about the lectionary and when this Bible reading comes up. But this is the Sunday when the dry bones text comes up. And the idea is that in a yard full of bones, God breathes. Oh, it'd be better if you could see my breath. In a yard full of bones, God breathes on the bones and they get tissues and sinews and muscle and flesh, and out of their grave, God makes people come back. And while we might think about how lovely it would be to have back all the beloved folk in our lives that we lost much too soon, this is a story in the Bible of the soldiers coming back. And the soldiers in this graveyard are over here. And they're mostly from World War I and World War II, and their gravestones have been kept up faithfully, even though there may be fewer and fewer people who remember them. But imagine, I go down to the military section of the grave site, and God breathes on the bones, right? God breathes on the bones and they come back up, muscles and sinews, and they become flesh and bone people again. And here in this beautiful, peaceful place, a lot like the place where the dry bones rise up, it was beautiful, beautiful sacred landscape. And what if, here we are in the soldier section, see the white stones? What if a standing army arises in their World War I and their World War II garb, which is what this cemetery is. And in the middle of this peaceful forest, World War I and World War II soldiers were here ready to fight, ready to do battle. Well, it's good news if they're fighting for you. It's questionable news if you are someone that faithful people have said are going to be fought by these soldiers that rise up out of the ground. The message is not that God is going to inflate with breath dry bones so that they populate the earth. It's not a zombie apocalypse. It's a reminder again and again and again through whatever metaphors work for us and all the sacred spaces that work for us, particularly in the majesty of the mountains where God is made known on earth to us, that God is with us and God is for us. So if you imagine these soldiers rising up to destroy your enemy, it's a sign, surely God is with you. And my question for you is this: how can we know that God loves us? How can we know this without the war? How can we know this without having enemies? And how can we know this before we wind up in one of these spaces. Can we know God's love before that? Here's hoping.